technical issues, but we were able to handle it and we're good to go now. So welcome back to episode 2 of Tea Time with Brian. Like I told you last week with the introduction, these times have been very hectic to say the least. So we want to make sure that we bring you the news to everything going on in the state, affecting young people of color, young people as a whole. So we definitely want to keep you and give you the 411. And with that, let's start off, as our usual starting off point, cheering on with some tea. Today, I'm actually drinking some blueberry pomegranate tea. It's so good. It's one of my favorites. So definitely, make sure when you join me to have your little cup of tea and let's take a sip. Definitely great. Always good to start off like that. Clear off the throat and make sure everything is good to go. So let's start off. We definitely last week we told you with the absentee ballots, how you want to make sure that you requested and what is it and busting the myths. You want to make sure that you always know where to go requested and what is it and busting the myths. One of the myths that I told you last week is that absentee voting and mail-in voting are the exact same thing. And one of the things I want to make sure I do today with y'all, so I can show you how easy it is, because the state has rolled out a portal where you can actually request your absentee ballot, and it's extremely easy. And I'm actually going to share my screen with you so you could see what is going on with this portal. So give me a second so I can get that set up. But just while I do that, I just want to let you know that this is, one of the things that they're doing to make sure that they don't have a repeat of June. We all know what happened in June, y'all. So we want to make sure that George is trying to cover his tail and make sure that that does not happen again. But let me show you the screen so you can see it, compare. So let's show you right here how it's going to look. Yes, share. If you see the screen right here, this is how the new portal looks. It's super easy, and I want to make sure that I compare the absentee ballots that you would have to print out and this one. This is the portal that was rolled out last week. This is extremely easy, so I will make sure to post the link on the comments. But just for if you want to write it down, is ballotrequest.sos.ga.gov. That link again is ballotrequest.sos.ga.gov. And as you can see, we just click the request absentee ballot. And similarly to how you would fill out the online portal for registering to vote, you would do your first name, your last name, and please make sure that you put what is exactly on your driver's license. I know that we as people of color have a lot of times our two last names, or we might have a middle name put as a last name, or maybe they misspell the name. You have to make sure that it looks exactly how it is printed out on your license in order to make sure you avoid not showing up in the system. So you make sure that you put it exactly how you see it on your driver's license. So your first name, last name, date of birth, and your ID or driver's license. This is where I was telling you I want to make sure that it looks exactly like that. And you will select your county. I've already requested mine, so it's not going to let me do it again. But the next screen is going to look like it's just pretty much going to tell you where you want to have it mailed to. You want to make sure that you have not everybody is in the right address, so we want to make sure that when you request the form that you actually have the mailing address that you want to have the absentee ballot go to. You know, some of us are quarantining with our parents, some of us are quarantining outside of the state, or you know, and then we have a different address when we come here, so we want to make sure that you receive your absentee ballot. And then one last thing I'm going to show you is how it looks differently than the actual absentee ballot. So like, let's say that you want to make sure you actually do it on the mail. You can go to the sos.ga.gov website, and this is how it looks, the official absentee ballot one, that you know that it's been streamlined by the other tab that I show you, but this is how it looks if you want to print it out. One of the things that you don't have to do in the absentee ballot online is that you don't have to sign it like over here, you know what I mean? So you over here, you have to do the signature, and in order for you to get that and be validated. And I just wanted to give you an idea. Like I told you last week, it's very easy. It's about 9 questions. You know, a lot of them, you know, may not apply. Like for example, number 10 is only for certain people that it applies to. But over here, just so I can give you a good overview really quick, the date of election, as we all know, is November 3rd, 2020. You want to make sure you put your name. Like I told you, it's very important you put the exact name that is on your license. Then you would have the permanent address that you actually live and have in your license, and then the temporary address that you want the ballot to be sent. This is very easy over here. The type of ballot, you don't have to actually fill it out. This is only for primaries or primary runoffs. But because it's not a primary, it's a general election, you do not have to check that. And this is just some information. Like, let's say that you want to order, you know, ask for absentee ballot for your mother or for an older, you know, like your grandmother that needs help. You can actually sign over here and let them know that you were requesting the ballot if you're not the person that is voting. So that is pretty much it. That is a quick run through as to how we want to make sure that you guys, you know, have a good understanding of the voting process, specifically with absentee ballots, as it is something that we expect there to be a huge amount of people actually asking. You know, they had record numbers for the June election, so we're expecting record numbers for the November election. And one of the things that you want to make sure that you always do is to make sure that you have it up to date, as well as, you know, want to make sure that as many people have access to it. So that's one of the reasons why we ran through the applications. Please feel free to comment if anything was confusing from the website or from the actual absentee ballot that I showed you. Like I told you, you can do it online, fully online. I know, like, my young people, we like to do most of the stuff online or through PDF. So you could do that, or you could, if you want to, if you're still one of those people that have printers, you know, some of us still do. You could do the absentee ballot, fill it out, and mail it after you sign it and do all that good stuff. And you know, one of the things that we know is that the online portal should minimize all the errors. So we want to make sure that that does not happen, because we want to make sure that we avoid all the things that we can, like the June election. So let's go on to make sure that we let you know that the ballot has to be returned, like we told you, by a certain date. You have to, you know, the requested ballot, it has to be received by Friday, October 30th. So by the end of the month, we want to make sure that that Friday you send it before then. It's very important that you are doing it before then, because we want to make sure that there's no problems with you receiving your absentee ballot. And we want to make sure that we remind you again that you can also do early voting, which is coming up rather soon, October 12th to October 30th. That is the 2 weeks that they give you. I mean, I know I said rather soon, but look, you can start planning earlier, you know, than with everything going on, we want to make sure that you have your plan set in motion with your friends, with your family members, so as many of us actually exercise our right to vote and elect our officials. So now that we have done that, let's move on to our little segment called the Rona Updates. Child, has been a lot going on. I think this, if one of the things that we have seen is that there has been a lot of change with our friend COVID-19, especially with schools. So, but before we go and do that, let's make sure we show you the graphic where our Augusta peers can go get tested for free. I think that a lot of people have the understanding that they need insurance or that they need a certain like thing in order for you to get a free test. But no, it is extremely easy. I'm going to share the screen really quick. Share. Let's see. Right here. If you see on the screen, these are some of the testing sites in Augusta. You have the Augusta University Hospital, which is located in 1120 15th Street in Augusta. And for this one, they have a really fast turnaround, like I told you last week. But make sure that you call the hotline in order for you to schedule the test. And in Richmond County, the health department actually has 2 locations, so you could go to the one that's closest to you. We have the 950 Laney Walker Boulevard, and that is every Monday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And 1916 North Lake Road, and that's every Wednesday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You must, please, a lot of times we like to just kind of like walk in places, but you must book an appointment because no walk-ups will be allowed. So we want to make sure that, if you do set it up for one of those days, that you have, an appointment so you can get it done. These places are totally free. They would just need an appointment from you. So we want to make sure that you guys have access to that. I think that one of the ways that we want to make sure we stop this pandemic is by letting people know as much as they can about testing places, and of course always maintaining the guides of social distancing as well as wearing your mask in public. And with that, let's move on to our favorite part, the COVID in universities. I think this is definitely one of those things that is, I think, unprecedented. Not only is it unprecedented, but I think that we are, how do I say it? We're going about it with some, I would say some with close eyes, but I think that we want to make sure that we let you know what's going on in the college campuses in Georgia. So one of the things that we thought that was really interesting was that in Georgia College State University, last Friday, they had a die-in protest where they wanted them to bring more attention to how I guess, they're handling the situation on campus. I think that one of the students, made sure to let people know that she did not feel as safe because I think that most of the schools are having some sort of mixed learning situation as to like some are fully online while others are only on the classroom, even if they only meet for a short amount of time. So then, they just, a lot of people are just not listening to, their actions that are required in order to make sure that people are safe. And, it's just something that we want to make sure that we always, over here, we always tell you that to listen to the officials to make sure that we are safe and we are not propagating the disease. Unfortunately, we have seen that 2,000 students and employees across the state have actually tested positive since classes began last month. And, of course, this is more than likely a low number just because these are just some of the voluntary numbers that schools have provided. And it's actually a little bit sad because we have seen that there's Georgia's in the top. It has two colleges or universities, schools, college towns that are actually in the top 10 of the list of college campuses, or that are have are hot spots. So it's crazy that I don't think it's good that we are excelling in that. But I think that as long as people are being careful and they're not, please bear in mind that there's a lot of us that live with mixed families, meaning that there's some that are younger people, but as well as older or immune compromised individuals. So please bear in mind that even though it might not be a death sentence, it is something that it is to some of the other members in our population, and wanted to avoid that. And I think that the numbers have been a little bit skewed, but we want to make sure that you are getting tested. Most of the universities are implementing some sort of testing. We know that Georgia State and UGA and Georgia Tech are actually doing surveillance testing, and meaning that they actually are asking the asymptomatic, because a lot of people, please, I think that a lot of people fail to forget that you might actually have COVID-19, but you might be fully asymptomatic. I think that is something that has not been discussed as often, but it is very real. So I know that the colleges are actually asking the students to come in and get tested, and just get a good understanding of what's happening in their campuses. Georgia State, for example, is actually asking 300 students per week to get tested to make sure that they know how the disease is spreading, because I think that now we're past the time of now we are in actually how are we going to make sure that we stop the spread. I think that that's where we're at right now. And the UGA is doing the same approach. So, it's just a little bit weird because unfortunately with the different college and campuses in Georgia, we have seen the same thing that we've seen throughout the states, that depending on the state, they're doing certain things that are differently. And that is the same thing that is happening in Georgia. The university system of Georgia is kind of giving them free range as to how they're dealing with the different campuses, to make sure that they follow, the security or, the privacy of the schools. But I think that one of the things that we want to make sure that we are telling you is that unfortunately a lot of Black and brown communities are disproportionately affected, as we have seen. So a lot of these parties that's going on have been brought back to a lot of the staff and the professors. So we want to make sure that you keep that in mind. I think that, we want to make sure that we are safe with everything going on. And I think that I want to make sure that we let you know that, be safe, and we'll keep continually updating you with what is going on with COVID-19 and our good friend Rona and the college campuses. So let's move on now finally to our campus organizer. We know that we were going to have a talk with our campus organizer, Evan. But unfortunately, he was not able to be here. He's actually setting up some great things in these colleges and universities in order for college students to make sure that they're being mobilized with the help of the university staff to make sure that they are registering to vote and actually following through with submitting their ballots. He will be joining us within the next couple of weeks to make sure that he tells us all the good stuff that we are doing with the JCCN, organization and, the network and all that good stuff. And finally, we want to hear from you. I think that there's a lot of moving parts. We want to make sure that you know what's going on with us. We'll make sure that we are rolling out a lot of good events. You will know soon about some voter guides that we're rolling out. So look out for that. And now we want to hear from you, our audience. What are some of the interests that piqued your interest the most from this live stream? What topics do you want to hear about? I think that we want to get feedback to know what is working and what is not. So please sound off in the comments, and please, we will see you next week for another Tea Time with Brian. So ciao, thank you for joining us, and see you next week. Bye-bye.